Well, quiet. We ready to start? Okay, I'd like to welcome you to the May 17th, 2023 City Council meeting. Roll call by Lefty Krieger, Jason Upchurch, on the phone, Caleb Stapp. This side over here, on my right, Heather Newsom, Naomi Diaz, Community Service Director Roger Krieger, City Clerk Treasurer Debbie Cragen. I ask you to stand at this time for the invocation. I pass the greeting staff.
Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us individual opportunity for free agency. Thank you that right now in this place we also have political freedom. And Lord, I pray your blessings on this exercise of that these, our elected leaders, might make wise decisions that would be benefit to everybody, and that you would bless them in their hard work to do that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up, item 4, approval of agenda. Motion to approve. There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item 5, approval of May 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting minutes. Motion to approve. I'll second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, next up, item 6, public hearing. Letter A, 6-year transportation improvement program. Resolution 2023-002. Roger, would you fill us in on that?
Sure. So every year after the budget cycle, we go through the year, we need to adopt a resolution called a 6-year street plan that gives the street side their planning tool towards which projects are next and really which projects are applied for grant funds in a priority listing. And as we finish a project, Colville, for example, third and the roundabout, it then drops off and other projects move up. And so this list reflects what was in the capital facilities resolution that we do in January right after the budget time. But this is just one of the requirements of WashDOT and several of the federal programs relative to grant fund applications. And so this is a priority ranking. It's really a job to finish it up from what we did earlier this year during the budget work session. If this needs to be adjusted some, that's the time to look for it, and we can make that a change in the capital improvement resolution we do in January-ish. So this is part of that annual process we have to do for all the grant apps, basically. And so this hearing is, if there's any comments towards it, then you'll see there's action for it later as a resolution.
Any questions by council?
Not by me.
Any questions by the audience? Richie?
So this is just for maintenance of the roads that we currently have. It couldn't be used for adding additional roads as the city grows where the city already owns the property?
Correct. This is for, unfortunately, there's no grant dollars out there that allow a new road to be built. That always has to be funded by the agencies first to start from, and then you might get to resurface it or widen it, some things like that later. So this is a list of current roads that have been identified in kind of a priority ranking of which ones need to be improved first with curb gutter sidewalks. And
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if there was a way to add in some.
you can't apply for any money for it.
Okay. Well, listen.
Anybody else? Roger, do I need a motion on that?
Well, when you get down in the resolutions, you will, yes.
Okay. Number 7, interested citizens, oral communications, requests, and comments from the audience on unrelated agenda items. Mr. Schultz, you're first up.
First, Mr. Mayor, I want to apologize to you for losing my temper at the end of the last meeting. You and I discussed it. We made amends with each other, but I have too much respect and love for you, sir, to treat you that way. So please accept publicly my apology to you.
I do, Jim, very much.
Also, I want members of the council to know that the Law Enforcement Committee was not unanimous on starting our own police department or hiring a consultant. I made it clear as far as the consultant goes that I thought it was a waste of taxpayers' money at this time. I believe that you would be better off waiting to 3 to 5 years and then look and see where the city is at, how it's positioned. Right now, the sheriff's office is trying to work with Deer Park, but yet he's getting slammed in the media by Councilman Upchurch because saying that he's basically robbing Deer Park. Jason has compared the cost of a deputy in King County to a cost of a deputy in Spokane County. King County has over 7 million residents. They receive over $27 billion a year in property taxes. Spokane County is home to 539,000 residents and receives just over $1 billion in tax revenue for just property tax. That's all that I'm talking is property tax, not sales tax. Also, nobody knows what is included in the contracts for the deputies in King County. Perhaps you have to pay extra for SWAT, for detectives, a homicide investigation. With the sheriff's office in Spokane County, all of that is included. The problem I have with Mr. Upchurch on the committee is that he's not transparent. I asked in committee meeting if he would name the agencies, not the officers, that he said he had 6 that would come to work for Deer Park if we had our own police agency. He said he was not comfortable in sharing that. If the committee is supposed to research this, that information should be made known to the committee members, and it's not. It seems to me that Mr. Upchurch only wants to hear what Mr. Upchurch wants to hear to go the way he wants it to go. So please, consider that if you vote further down the road. However you vote, vote your conscience. And if you choose to hire a consultant, if you choose to go with your own police department, realize that you will, if there's a felony, if you have your own police department, they are responsible for investigating all crimes that happen in your city limits, in their jurisdiction. And if they call upon the sheriff's office to assist, you will be billed in the entirety for all of that. So please consider all of that, and thank you for your time.
You got one more.
Oh, if you want a role model of community-oriented policing, Deputy Matt Ennis is a poster child for that, and so is Deputy Kupo. That is John Knowles' #1 priority, is to develop a strong community-oriented policing effort. And he has said that in one of our committee meetings. So thank you for your time. I'll shut up. Did I say under 2 minutes, Tim?
Yes, you did.
All right.
Thank you, Jim. Brandon, you're up. Brandon 1.
Okay. I got a couple of things I'm going to say, because there's a lot of structural problems I've noticed since I've been coming to these meetings for the last several years. One is, as far as the sign-in sheet, if we ever have anything where people are going to make comments on, you should have it where they can sign up. That way we won't have people feeling like they're left out. And we won't, I appreciate Jim's passion, but I think that could have been avoided if we had a separate sign-in sheet. And the council and the mayor, next year, you guys have to get together and work on the actual rules of your meetings. That would be very helpful. Every council does it every time there's a new council. I'm also very concerned about these committees, how they were formed. I know, Mayor, you're the one that put them together. You have that right. But I've never heard of in my life a committee that's supposed to be a citizen committee be chaired by a council member. They're supposed to be independent. And then the last thing is just a general question. I know that City Hall is now under a 4-day work week. You're not open on Fridays.
Correct.
Why is that? And the people that are working, is their salary being affected by that?
They work 4 10s. Monday through Thursday, excuse me.
But how come we closed it on Friday?
No one's here.
Oh,
It's a union deal.
okay. Thank you.
Richie, you're up next.
Okay. With the changes in some of the schools, buildings and stuff, and there's a lot of extra traffic around a lot of the schools. There's a lot more people that are parking on the streets now, and it makes it very problematic during that rush hour when kids are coming in and out of school. The kids often are darting out between cars into the street, and If we could make it so there's no parking on the streets around the schools, I think that would just improve the safety quite a bit, especially during those school rush hours. So just very concerned about the visibility of those kids coming in and out of the school and stuff. So anyways, that's...
Angela? There you are.
Hi. So I am addressing the issue of our favorite feathered friends, the backyard chickens. And I understand that we're working on this, but I would simply like to stir up your sincere minds by way of reminder with a personal anecdote. So I am a recently retired high school math teacher, and I moved up here to be near family, first of all, but also in anticipation of starting in my own backyard, a little backyard homestead, which is just a fancy way of saying a garden and a few animals. And so you could say that as a math teacher, I have spent most of my life solving problems, and you would be right. So when I saw in my backyard that my poor little backyard was overrun with grasshoppers, the solution leapt to the eye. Excuse the pun. Raise your hand if you know the answer. Votes for chickens. Thank you.
Billy, you're up. Chamber update?
Yeah, just want to give you guys an update on some things we're doing at the Chamber of Commerce. Yesterday, we had a really good luncheon over at First Street. We had both school superintendents there, both Dr. Russell and Alexa Allman. Had a great update on some of the work that they're doing. Partnered great with the Rotary Club as well. We went over since we moved to the City Hall, back to City Hall, we had to do some updates to our bylaws, which we updated. And some events that we have going on. We got the 5K Sunflower Run this Saturday, 11 to 2 at Masters. It's open to anybody. If I can run it, anybody can. So we also have a golf scramble coming up on June 2nd. And then we are also working out the exact date, but the Chamber has agreed to take on the Night Out Against Crime, which we're planning to move from the beginning of August to the middle of September. So we'll keep you guys updated on that, but thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Next up, number 8, new business. Number A, the letter A, sports complex discussion. Ryan, do you want to say anything, or any of you want to say that?
Sure. Well, a lot of our concerns have been cleared up. I'm Ryan Wilson, the president for Tri-County Little League here in Deer Park. A lot of our concerns were cleared up with the maps and things like that you brought to us before the meeting. I guess the next thing would be putting it in your ear about possibly leasing parcel 28122.007 for Tri-County Little League to build more fields in the future. Currently, we don't have enough fields for the kids we have, and with Deer Park growing, our league is as well. So.
Oh, yes. Question.
May I ask
Yep.
you, so are you asking for city funds to build those, or would the Little League program?
No, our Little League program, we would take care of building the fields. What we would ask is just lease of the land for the ability to build those fields. Yeah.
So, I'm Carmen. I am the treasurer for Tri-County Little League. I've been a part of Little League for probably about the 8 years. So one thing that, we have some numbers. So like, we have 385 kids that came out this year for Little League, which was huge for us. We have 10 T-ball teams. So that just means that in the next couple of years, we're gonna have even more teams coming up and going into the minors and majors, as you would call it, for Little League. As of now, we are fighting for field time. We don't have enough field time for our kids. We don't have enough areas for even our T-ballers to play. They're playing out in fields with a net up. So when they come up to minors or majors, they're not getting the fundamentals that they need. So with Little League, would like to look at the possibility of leasing the land and building those extra fields. We had over 30 businesses in the area sponsor us. A lot of them sponsor up to $400 just to give us those funds so we were able to do this. And that's kind of just where we're at now. We're just hoping to look at what we can do for that, especially for Little League.
Did you expect that many this year coming out?
We didn't. When I first started, so when I came out in 2018, we had 263 kids. COVID year, even with all the things that went on and wearing the mask, we had 347 kids come out. So to have 385 come out this year, I mean, that was huge for us. This was the first year that we've had 5 softball teams for our girls.
That's 60 kids, 60
yeah,
girls.
60 girls come out. And that doesn't include our littles, because we have rookies too, which have eight teams, and then our T-ballers, which have 10 teams. So we have quite a few kids. We just don't have anywhere to practice. And our money comes from our sponsors, which is all of our community members. We have so many businesses in the community that support us and sponsor us. And our fundraising, and then our concession stand. And right now we are so limited at space at the complex that we can't run our concession stand. So that hasn't been very helpful to us.
Do you have the opportunity to play in other fields in the school system?
We do. It's just we don't have any way to go maintain those fields. And so like a couple of the fields like at the school districts, like there's like the kids go down and then there's a big lump and one of them's gonna hurt themselves and then Little League will be responsible for that. So if we were able to have the land and be able to take care of it and maintain it for ourselves, then it would be in our hands if anything happened. And then it would be out of the school districts and out of the cities. It would be and we have insurance that we carry for that. And we also have a really great district guy that supports us. He's, what are we, District 5?
13.
13, sorry. So we're District 13 and he comes and supports us. And he's really all about like if we could get fields built, and he would help us raise the money to get that done. We also have the opportunity, well, we are going to run the district tournament this year for Little League. We've been asked multiple times to run the state tournament. It's just, there's so many rules that we don't have the fields to offer that.
They're not updated either, correct?
Huh?
They're not updated either.
And they're not updated, correct, yeah. And that would just bring in a lot into our community to run a district tournament or a state tournament. That brings at least 5,000 to 10,000 people coming in, and the money that would bring into the community also. And I mean, we're all about the kids, so that's where we're at with this.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How many fields were you planning or wanting to build?
Well, there's 2 fields at the complex right now. And we are hoping to build 4.
Or additional?
4 additional.
Our
yeah.
goal is, yes, to build 4 additional fields eventually. So hopefully, if we can raise the money 4 right off the bat, if not 2, and then work our way up to 4 fields in total, which would give us 6 fields in the area.
How much does that cost?
It costs about $250,000 per field, depending on field design.
We bring in, I'm Robin, I'm also on the board somewhere along the lines. I really helped with sponsorship. If our community doesn't help us, we can't help our community, right? We're here to do this all around. There's over 100 businesses that participate in Pumpkin Lane, and we get 30 businesses that help within, but it's big dollars, right? We have to play in Loon Lake, we have to play in Riverside, but we also are able to use those kids to be with us as well. So we're able to bring in Riverside. We have kids from Lakeside that come because they also don't have those programs. So we get to bring in those kids, our push is to also have them have a team, Riverside have a team, Loon Lake have a team, so we can play each other and keep it community also. Because we can get funds from Loon Lake, we can get sponsors from Riverside that can help participate in that as well. They're also our community. As much as we challenge and battle them, right, from our horns and our things for sports, they're part of us as well. And it's a really great build that we're creating with these kids.
Tim, you had asked if we use fields in the school district. We actually use every field available in the school district almost every night, and we still don't have enough fields. The other issue is that it's all spread out all across the area. Growing up in California, when I played Little League, they had a complex where everybody was there. And so every game night was a community night. Everybody at the same place, building bonds, friendships, and things like that. Whereas right now, it's 2 teams at a field over here and 2 teams at a field over there. Whereas something like this would help us centralize it and make it a community event every game night.
And we get, how many games do we play a week?
I mean, we've got 32 teams this year, so that's 16 games a night.
Monday through Thursday.
So,
Thank all of you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask, how long is your season? When does it start and when does it end?
Our season starts, we start registrations in January. Practices usually start at the end of March, and then games begin. Our opening day was April 29th, and the end of the season will be beginning of June, middle of June.
But then we have?
Oh, and then we have the district tournament, which we'll be hosting as well, and teams that win that move on to state tournaments and things like that as well. So.
That's our season, but we would be able to bring in, Monday travel everywhere, they would be able to utilize those fields as well because it'll be real fields, right? So then you end up having state tournaments, district tournaments. I mean, it's not that we wouldn't let other people use them, but that would guarantee us. Right now, we're not guaranteed a field because of other reasons. And so we lose a field every Wednesday. We lose money, we lose funding, we lose a practice, we lose a field for games to where we can't have one field every Wednesday. That eliminates income for us, that eliminates camaraderie, that eliminates community also.
I was a t-ball coach and on our softball league. Deer Park had a softball league for like 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
So, and we did a lot of work on those fields. It's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our community needs that.
Yeah.
I second that.
I agree.
One of those moms.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Really has.
Can I just say something about the Chamber of Commerce and the business owner here? If we had a complex like this, like a destination complex, so many people here want hotels, outlets, restaurants. This brings so many people to our community as a destination to stay overnight. Right now our only tourist attraction is a golf course, and that takes, 3 hours? But if we have tournaments where people come from all over states, it's going to bring so much business to our community and reasons for businesses to want to invest in Deer Park.
Along that line, so if we do build a complex like this that is up to date and we can host state tournaments, our district administrator said that a state tournament brings in an average of about $500,000 to a city. And that's lodging, restaurants, food, grocery stores, gas stations, sporting goods, hardware stores, all of that benefit from state tournaments, district tournaments, and things like that.
And that goes all the way through September, October.
So, thank you very much.
Richie, you have a question?
Yeah. So at the last school board meeting, there was discussion there about the city transferring the sports complex to the school district. Is that discussion still going on, or is that not in the works? Okay.
The only discussion that we've had is the 3 parcels.
Okay. Well, at the school board meeting, they were pretty clear on what would be some of the consequences if the school district were to take over the sports complex. One of the things was locking up those fields so they couldn't be used unless someone had official permission, so that they weren't damaged. They're also talking about the city not being able to use it for fireworks and other things like that. So that was something that they came up at the school board meeting. I just wanted to see if that was still in the works. Anyways, one of the things I wanted to say is that there have been several attempts recently to do like frisbee golf and then like the bike park that other volunteers have started and then kind of not gotten completed. I'm all for this concept of more baseball fields. Potentially though, what I would like to say is it would be better if the city were to maybe develop those and then, lease the developed fields. That is a possibility. So that way, I'm not saying that you guys would do anything. It's just there's a kind of a trend with city property of people wanting to develop it, putting some work into it to get a frisbee golf course started, and then it never gets completed, and it doesn't really get utilized for the intended purpose. So,
to answer that, part of the reason is we're waiting for this contract through the school district to buy that property. Part of that disc golf is on the property if they're going to buy it.
right.
So that's why we haven't done anything in the past year and a half.
Okay.
So we're waiting on that.
Okay.
And we've just never we have talked about it for multiple years now of bringing in more fields. I think what really made us like more to the point is that it was brought up at the school board meeting about the complex being bought and we not having access to it anymore for Little League. And that was going to be really hard. I mean, I have a child and he will be out of Little League in another year, but I have been a part of this program since I moved here and I love it. And having this for our children and making this happen for them, it doesn't just benefit the community, it benefits our kids. Yeah. And that's what we need. They need something to do, and this would give them more than enough opportunity to do. And even if they're not a part of it, a part of Little League, like we had Otto come out and so many people came out to our opening day and just hung out with Otto and watched the other kids play. And there were so many community members there that their kids weren't even playing that day. And it was just awesome to see. So like Ryan said, to have more fields, it would just bring more community together and our kids together.
Thank you. Okay. Number 9, resolutions. Letter A, resolution 2023-002, 6-year transportation improvement program.
Yeah, so this is the one that has the public hearing, and Brad will get to run with this into the future, but it's a document we have to do every year as part of working with WashDOT and grant funding agencies relative to federal dollars. And so this program, this list then goes to them, and then they add it to their planning document. Really only the top project or so goes onto their list. But this is what we have to do on a cycle, and we've been doing it forever, and so we just need your approval.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions by the council? Caleb, you listening?
Yes, sir. No question.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. Item D, resolution 2023-003, interlocal agreement for fire services with Spokane County Fire Protection District Number 4. Roger.
So I guess let me tell you the story behind all this and then why it's here is, obviously the city joined Fire District 4 several years ago, and during this whole length of time up till now, the city was the building official. We adopted the building code, the fire code, mechanical, all the other codes. And the fire district has been the agency for us that did fire inspections, did fire investigations, did complaints relative to fire and life safety issues. And things went along like that for years. They did the annual inspection of businesses, and all this stuff has worked fine. This winter, we had a situation where a structure, we had a complaint, and so it was investigated, and it was a commercial structure where water was flowing through it was, snow melt, lots of water flowing down an electrical panel and all that kind of stuff. The fire district went in, and in their authority of the fire code, with a fire and life safety issue like that, they ordered them to close. And it it was one thing they probably could have fixed in a day or so, but it was kind of an important deal. The owner refused, and so we started really digging into this, and the fire district fire marshal is the one that did the most research in it, and we found that in 1985, the fire districts of District 4, District 9, District 8, a bunch of them, entered into agreement with the Spokane County Building Department for the Spokane County building official to be the fire marshal for the county. That was long before the districts had their own fire marshals and that whole problem. So in effect, it said the fire marshal in Spokane County has authority in all of Fire District 4, yet the city of Deer Park is not part of Spokane County as it relates to governance. So the building official doesn't have any say-so inside the city limits. And so we were in this middle position where, okay, how do we deal with this enforcement issue now and into the future? So lo and behold, at about the same time, Spokane Valley was going through the same thing, and this agreement is drafted modeled after the agreement between the Valley, City of Spokane Valley and Fire District 1, which is in the Valley. Our attorneys looked at it, the district attorneys looked at it, and basically what it does is for fire-related things, enforcement of the fire code, inspections, fire investigations like we had over here, all those kinds of things, now there's a legal authority for them to do that for us. And so there's lots of pages here to get there whenever you get the attorneys involved with putting all these interlocals together. But that in an instance is what it is. The one thing we had to add, because the auditor looked at it from a standpoint of, well, there has to be, the district can't gift their services to us any more than we can gift them to them. And so we were able to set it up where we have lots of commercial projects every year that go through the county, the fire district for review, for plan review. And so for that service, we're going to get into the percentage of 15% off the plan review fee that we collect. We'll go to them for that service, but that will cover all their services they do as well. The inspections, the annual inspections, the fire test inspections, helping us on subdivisions relative to fire hydrant spacing, all that kind of stuff. That will still be covered. But the portion that we'll send them money is if we have commercial building permits that come through as a part of their plan review fee. So we really ask that you approve this. This gives us that tool so that the fire marshal can do his thing inside the city when we've been doing it for a lot of years just without all the horsepower and authority to back it up.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions by the council?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, item 11, consent agenda. Letter A, approval of voucher claim check numbers 41128 through 41170, including EFT debits in the amount of $476,661.93 for the first half of May 2023. Item B, Dalton Creek plot approval, file LP 2021-2.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments or questions by the council? All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Oh, thank you. Yes, in the cost report, in the vouchers, let's see, where was it? I believe it said something about a Chevy. It looked like we bought a vehicle. I was just, the 2013 Chevy 2500 for $50,000. I was just curious what that was for and what we were using that vehicle for.
That's actually the line item is for a 20, that we're replacing is the 2013 Chevy. It's actually with a 2023 Ford F-250 pickup. And it's for the street department's truck. And it's just the normal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that truck aged out with our replacement program. So it's just the replacement, and then the 2013 Chevy will be sold. And that money will go back into that fund.
It's probably mislabeled.
It was, that was actually me. I mislabeled that.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Item 12, report of departments. Jake, are you with us?
I am.
You're up first.
All right, thank you. Yeah, everything is going super busy here in the city as far as the permits concerned. Getting ready to issue our first foundation only in the light industrial area there on Cedar Street. So that's exciting. And there's lots of buildings continue to go on in the city. So notices, and we're anticipating as we get closer and closer to the 1st of July with some new code updates that will be inundated with more applications. So looking forward to that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Darold.
We've started mowing and spring work. Of course, along with that comes all the repairing. We have our first firefighting aircraft at the airport. They brought in a DNR Huey on Monday.
Bradley?
Busy in the parks, getting those ready. Scott and the guys have them looking really good already this year. Me and my guys are putting an 8-inch water main down Park Street from Crawford down to roughly 3rd Street to increase the fire flow down there and get, just to make a loop through that area where we have some a dead end down there. So busy working on that.
Roger, you're up.
Just, I guess, project update. The wastewater treatment plant is really going strong now. It's mostly all shaped on the inside, so if you went and you'll see all you can see is the banks on the outside, but lots of dirt moving down there. That project's really busy. The airport sewer project is underway. It started Monday with the first deep sewer. They're down at 23 feet. So it's really interesting back in the sand, and they seem to be doing all right. I think they'll do fine. And then the North Dalton well, the building walls is up. The roof was going on today. And we had to apply for an extension. The grant project is supposed to be done by the end of June. And we knew from an ordering standpoint, delay of electrical equipment. But anyway, we got to extend out all the way till December 31st. As far as when we have to be done by, and they said it should be done by September-ish time frame. The panels, both the motor control panel and the telemetry panel, they both had a lead time of about 8.5 weeks just before we see them from the time you order them. And so it's just, everything's gonna be done, and then it's just gonna sit there waiting for electrical guys to come back and finish it up. But that's going fine. Jake briefly mentioned the building code stuff in July 1. Statewide, the state's going to go, and the builders and the homeowners and the people that pay for these permits are going to be in for a bit of a culture shock just because of the State Building Code Council and what they've done and the codes they've adopted, especially as it relates to energy code. But another one that's out there is a Wildland Urban Interface Code, which is getting lots of press out there in the paper right now. So, yeah, there's going to be upset people that we're all forced to follow a code on starting July 1. So just don't be surprised if you don't hear about it. Don't be surprised you don't see it in the newspaper. If you hear on the news, the day of affordable housing is almost impossible with what's coming down the pike. So just to let you know ahead of time, you'll hear about it. Because we get to enforce it whether we like it or not, but it's here. They had a chance to shut it down and they did not. So it's July 1 is the date.
Thank you. Item 13, council questions, comments, or reports. Dee, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I have nothing.
Okay. Jason?
Nothing.
Okay. Caleb, you have your report?
Yes, sir. Just two things to mention. The first is, was the state legislature passed the new law reinstating drug use as a crime.
Yes.
Wish that had been stronger, but a lot of something that's on the books again. I was considering us having to take action to try to do something. So they did something at least. The second thing is for the folks listening, this is the week to file as a candidate for city council next year. So all the folks participating tonight are the folks probably most likely to be interested in that sort of thing. So just wanted to remind everybody this is the week to be paying attention to that and to possibly file as a candidate. And that's all.
Okay. Heather? Naomi? Okay. Next up, item 14, adjournment.
Let's go home.
We're adjourned. Everybody, thank you.
You guys should have all got a copy of the report.